Hey everyone, I've got another layout update today. So I've been mostly just working on track and kind of design plans, figuring out my final design that I'm going to be doing on this small industry switching layout here. So I've got some stuff done, which is good. I've got all the old track lifted, removed here, along with those old Atlas snap switches I was going to be using. And then I've got my number 6 Atlas custom lines in along here for this little siding that comes off the double main there. And then from there, I'm starting to work on the actual entrances into the industries. So right here, I had a diamond, and I purchased a new one because I actually destroyed my old one when I removed it. And I'm just waiting on that. And that's kind of my roadblock at the moment to continue finishing all the track work here, or at least getting it back out to the rest of the industries. I could start working on the back areas there, but I'd rather just work from the front forward and just kind of build out as I go that way, just to make sure I get everything right. So I'm not designing this in any track software or anything like that. It's small enough where I'm just being careful with the curves and watching what I'm doing, make sure I don't go too aggressive with anything. I got more switches in, which is good, so I got all those, so I complete that. And then I got some more track as well. So this is the track I use. It's made by Micro Engineering. It's their Coda 83 Flex track, and I get the weather version of it, which I really like. Because as you can see, it's already pre-weathered. It's a nice kind of just brown color there, nice and rusty. And that's the entire thing too, including the top. But you can just take some one of your bright boys or whatever, clean that up, and then it'll look like this, nice silverish kind of look to it. The neat thing about this is that the way they weather it, it's actually kind of like an acid bath they put it in. That's some type of chemical reaction, and it discolors it. So it's still actually conductive. And it's kind of neat because if you wanted to use this on kind of an unused spur or siding or something like that goes off in the woods, it doesn't use very often, you can still run trains on this as is with that color. They'll still run just fine. You don't need to remove it, which I kind of like. But obviously you want it to be silver for your mains and stuff. But the chemical they use too, you can buy it. It's this stuff here. It's rail weathering solution. It's very corrosive, so be careful with it. But you can soak your track in it or put it on with a brush, and that way you can actually weather the rest of your track to match up, with the actual snap track. And that's what I need to do with my snap switches, or my Atlas switches here, the custom line, because as you can see, it doesn't match the rest of the track very well. So I'll be soaking those, getting them nice and rusty like the rest of it there, so it matches perfectly. But that stuff works really well. I've used it quite a bit. So again, you just need to be careful with it. It is kind of nasty stuff. But other than that, so design. Let me show you what I've got here. This is kind of not the final design, but I think I'm getting close to what I actually want. So compared to my early designs when I had, like I mentioned, just way too much track within this layout, I cut it down quite a bit. It looks like there's still a lot here, but again, this isn't to scale, so it's actually quite a bit more spread out once you actually look at it versus what's on this piece of paper. Anyway, thought is here. Double main. Off the main, I've got my little siding, and then I've got my 2 switches here that come off that feed the industries. First one over here will go and feed this industry, which I'm not really sure what it'll be yet. And then coming off this way, I've got one that'll come off and will feed this first industry. Doing some Google Map searching around Michigan, looking in some areas where there's quite a big industrial spurs coming off and feeding some industries. So just some ideas for stuff I'm doing. Chemical plant, I'd like to have one on there. Not really plant, but just kind of storage facility, distribution facility. There's 2 that are near me, BASF and PBS Chemicals. They both looking at the actual plant on Google Earth. They have some interesting features. A lot of cool tanks and just good design elements, and they're not overly large either. So I should be able to replicate that pretty well in the layout. Then following this little spur coming off as well, I kind of feed back into this area here where I'm going to be feeding 2 industries off the back of this this back area here in the back of the layout. So I'm going to put the industries right up against the wall instead of having actual buildings. That'll give me a little bit more room in the layout. And again, I'm limited on space here, so I think that'll work well. So again, just looking at stuff, Great Lakes Wine and Spirits. So they've got quite a cool industry where they feed a lot of boxcars. They have a big loading dock, so I think that'd be kind of neat to replicate and model on this layout. Along with over here, Electrolux. So Michigan's got quite a few appliance industries, at least they did, not as many as they used to. That would be kind of neat to have just as another different type of industry back there. So again, just ideas, throwing them out. I still need to figure out what this is going to be. I'm tempted to do something automotive because we have a ton of automotive here in Michigan between manufacturing and suppliers and stuff like that. But I mean, that's one of the big areas that I've been struggling with, is that a lot of the industry here in Michigan is automotive, and the problem is that those plants that are used are absolutely massive. huge manufacturing plants. And to model one on this layout scale down, unless like I just did, the edge of it along the back or something, just wouldn't really work. They're just too big for what I'm trying to do here. So I'm looking for smaller type things that, I'd be able to feed just with a couple cars, to each industry there, and try to keep things, realistic for the size of this layout. The other big thing we have in here in Michigan is intermodal yards, a ton of them. Because we have all the direct track that goes over to Canada. So a lot of intermodal traffic there, just huge container yards. Again, for the scale layout, it just doesn't work in terms of size, which is sad because I really love the intermodal cars and containers, and I also really love the auto haul carriers, the TTX like transfer for vehicles and stuff like that. Now, I've got some of each, but they just don't work for my scale. So that's kind of where I'm at on that, but this will probably iterate one more time and we'll see how I go from there, but I think I'm getting close to what I like. Lastly, I've got my locomotives. So I've got my all three DCC powered now. I've done videos on kind of how I'm doing that. So I've got CSX 2558 here. He's a GP38-2, no dynamic brakes. Seaboard System 6042, another GP38-2. And then CSX 6126 GP40. So all those running together sound really, really nice. And I've got them all pretty much programmed and tuned up now where they all run, basically as a consist really nice as well. So I'll be doing that on a video here soon. I can show how those Excel Systems DCC decoders sound as well with the iPhone 5 speakers I've been putting in there. But anyway, that's kind of where I'm at right now. So as soon as I get my last little bit of track stuff here, I can finally get moving on the track and then actually start really doing some switching, running some trains while I continue on. But it's kind of what I've been trying to hurry up and get done with here just so I can run some trains. But anyway, that's where I'm at. So thank you for watching.